guys, Misha from EditStock. One of the most popular projects on EditStock over the last year has been TN Parkour, and it's easy to see why. There's fun, flips, and young adventure mixed with some talented athletes using Tennessee as their playground. This video was created by Kidron Cannon, who I had the pleasure of meeting last year at NAB. At the time I met him, Kidron was either a student or he was about to graduate from Harding University. At these shows, and just generally on a daily basis, a lot of people submit films that they want to sell to EditStock, but I set the bar really high, and student projects are rarely able to hit that bar. Kidron somehow, though, had been able to tap into that X factor that takes years to discover. That's why some of his work has been featured on Sports Illustrated's website, and that's why he's been hired by lots of advertising firms that are flying him around the world to shoot footage for their projects. My goal in this tutorial is to show you what it is that makes Kidron's edits so special. Let's take a look at Kidron's cut of TN Parkour. We're going to talk a lot about crescendos in this tutorial. We often think about crescendos as only happening at the end of a cut, but really they happen throughout a whole cut. And a lot of times when I'm picking the cue that I'm going to use for my montage, I pick a track that has a lot of crescendos because I'm already thinking about the sections. You know, if you use a track that only has one crescendo, say at the very end, then your entire piece is going to be a build up to that end. And that can be okay, but oftentimes what you really want is to cut your video in sections. So here, for example, Kidron clearly picked a song that has multiple crescendos, and he put one of those crescendos right after that first section, the intro section. There's the crescendo. If you're not used to looking at cuts critically, you might have missed the fact that this second section right after the title card is also a section, and I'm calling it the warm-up, or like the stretching section. All the shots here are of warming up. I mean, I know that this shot looks like something athletic is going on where, you know, the guy's climbing a wall, and we have a couple of backflips in this section, but those are really warm-up backflips. They're not overly dramatized by the music. They're just sort of practice. In this section, I might want to show shots like people falling down, missing their trick, or people sort of giggling as they prepare for the trick. So warm up. This is a pretty big jump, and I guess Kidron's using this to sort of whet the appetite of what's to come. But you could use or not use this shot. He's using it because really we're in a parking lot. This isn't like the most dangerous or like the biggest set piece that he has. But relative to the big action shots we're about to see, it is kind of a warm-up. Again, we're using a cue from the music to switch sections. As soon as we hear, here we go, we're in section 3, which is we're done warming up, we're done introducing the characters, now we're ready to actually see what they're doing. Here we go, now we blasting off into the ozone. The way we kick it in the dojo is local to show that we paving the road that's opposed to the dojo. Kidron is so good at matching shots. Did you notice where he cut on this foot? From landing foot to jumping foot, but we've changed locations, but the foot is kind of in the same spot. It's just really good editing. Stop that. I know you hear me spitting these hot raps. Now watch that beat, cause it's about to drop. The Rockets is the 09 jump off. Yeah, last name Pan, first name Peter. I know you see me playing and you want me to teach you, but I stay elevated so that all God's creatures can hear me. Notice that these are all the bigger set pieces. How the whole team is set up, and they've been rehearsing these multi-person tricks for a while. Shout it out like my name is Aretha, getting R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Right when the song slowed down, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, we got a slow down of the flip, but also You know, not every single shot needs to be cut right to the beat. What I really like about where Kidron cuts to in his flips, he goes to it at the point at which you have the most energy, right? This is look at where the first frame is. The first frame is we're just already in the flip, and we go wider and slower so that we really get the biggest possible payoff from the flip itself. He's got this in regular speed and slow motion, but we're showing it in slow motion because it adds a lot more intensity to the shot. Again, look where the cut is, right before the biggest action. The way Kidron's rig works, he's got the slow motion camera, the GoPro, on the bottom, and the regular speed Canon T2i on the top of a handheld stabilizer. So everything is actually in sync. He could cut this perfectly in sync continuity-wise, but when I go back through the cut, notice how he just propels you forward just a little bit. Continuity's not perfect, but that cut is absolutely intentional.
I'll get you from behind.
Now go ahead, right?
And that's the only line of dialogue in the entire piece. He only used one line of dialogue, and if you think about it, that just goes to show you how little guidance you really have in a piece that's a full montage, right? Because if this were a documentary, you'd have an interview to cut to. And if this was a scripted piece, you'd have dialogue to cut to. But in this case, the only sounds we really have of anyone talking are just these random few people that you pick up along the way. You might get one of the athletes, for example, kind of mumbling something or saying something to the camera. And it's cool to occasionally add those kind of natural sound bits because they can be used to divide the sections. I always try to stick a little piece of nat sound in between every section in all of my projects, whether they have a script or don't. I'm not saying every cut needs to happen right on the beat, but you need to think about the music. The music really needs to lead you. Right here in the song where we hear "Spread your wings and fly," we cut to a slow motion of someone basically doing that. There's a real synergy between the music and the picture to get into what I'm calling the flow. You know, your video gets a flow, and what you're really doing the whole time that you're editing is searching for that flow. Scrape the sky, long, big, slow motion. Again, the cut happens. Again, the cut happens at the most energetic spot in the shot. Curvature of the earth takes shape. We're showing the sky again, very round, you know, the curvature of the earth. You got to think about this like that wasn't planned, right? He listened to the music. He thought about what the music was telling him, and he thought about where the energy of the song was taking him, and he put in a shot that really reflects that well. Yeah. One of my favorite sections. There are a lot of different ways you can group shots. For example, you can group all the shots by location. In the parking lot, on the street, on the roof, that kind of thing. But you can also group shots by action within the shot or energy within the shot. And this next section of all slow motion shots really just hits that right on the nose. Just follow my jet stream, proud in the clouds on the boom in the precinct. I'll have no trampoline, black box in the pocket of my jet jeans. Shine with the stars so bright, even NYC sees me, get that. I see London. That was a whole bunch of slow motion shots that all fit together. In fact, he didn't even wait for the trick to finish in a lot of instances. He cut when the energy was high. And when you bridge all of those high energy spots together, you make one overarching, really big energy moment. Take a look at where these cuts happen during the flips. right at the height, right at the highest point. He doesn't show him landing. Right at the highest point, right at the highest point, at the highest point, at the highest point, at the highest point. And then now a release at the bottom of this crescendo where this athlete lands right on the ledge. And even though he's not in slow motion, if you listen to how it hits with the song, it actually makes perfect sense that this shot would sort of cap it off. In a shot like this, how far back should you start the athlete? It's pretty tempting to start him right as he's jumping over the ledge. I would argue in this case, it's not so much where he's starting that's important, but where he's ending. And where he's ending needs to be right on the beat of the music. And that is how you back time to where you want this shot to start. You feel that? Kidron is a really good cinematographer. Take a look at how much movement he puts in all these shots. Look at this last shot and take a look at the camera move that was involved. That glide cam, it was beautiful. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just think about where the cuts to the slow motion happens, right when the highest bit of energy is starting. My only sort of note here is that normally I would tell people to end when the song ends, for example. And here he kind of ends the cut when we're still at the height of energy. We just saw a bunch of flips. We didn't really have a lot of cool down period. Kidron really wants to carry his energy through his pitch at the end, which is click to subscribe to my video. That's why he's keeping the energy up high. I might have tried to use the end of the song here, but I'm kind of a square when it comes to this stuff. I'm very by the book. All right, that's it for this tutorial. There's going to be others. I've got a few more of Kidron's projects. We might do another one of those. But until next time.
I'll get you from behind.
Now go ahead, right?
Of the earth take shape. Fly fast forward like a videotape and no cape. Just follow my jet stream, proud in the clouds on the boom in your precinct. I'll have no trampoline, black box in the pocket of my jet jeans. Shine with the stars so bright, even NYC sees me. Get that.